three guys who combined to play 15 seasons in the National Football League trenches. Well, two guys. And Mackey, who didn't do shit. This is the O-Line Committee.
Gentlemen, welcome in to the O-Line Committee. Alex Boone, Jeremiah Sirles, Phil Mackey here.
Hey, Phil.
Booney.
Everyone have a good Memorial Day weekend? Anyone do anything crazy?
No. Went to the Northeast, enjoyed 15 types of seafood.
You had your birthday celebration.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Big 40-year-old here. That's right. The elder statesman.
You're always getting something to fall. Yeah.
Do you know all the hand signals to get the
you
various
do.
things?
You know them. I know you know
I
them.
think there's a heart one.
There it is. See, he does know that.
Why does it work on your computer and not ours?
Well, because I have a Mac. So I think it's a Mac thing, and I think Alex's Mac is from 2004. So I don't think they have the upgraded software on that dinosaur that he owns.
Boone, how many games of Oregon Trail do you play a day on your computer?
Too many.
He's still got Minesweeper.
Does mine do the
Come on,
thing?
come on.
No, it
No,
doesn't.
yours doesn't do anything. You're lucky it's on.
It's a big computer. It's big.
By the way, the reaction to the King Dunlap episode last week, awesome. You guys,
King
if you haven't
great.
checked it out yet,
King's the
former teammate of Jeremiah's. He spent like a decade with the Eagles, the Chargers, and he's got his own pod. The Raw Room has like 300,000 subs on YouTube too. So some of the stories he was telling, just awesome stuff.
Dude, my favorite was like all the comments were like, Raw Room O-Line Committee was not the collab on my bingo card this year. I was like, hey, you never know, man. O-line are all over the place. He already hit me back. He's like, dude, you guys do film breakdowns? I'm in. Right?
Okay.
Like any O-lineman that hears film breakdowns, they just start like salivating. Like, let's
go.
Film,
Let's go.
film. Except for I'll probably have to keep them awake.
I think that'd be a fun thing. I mean, we do film breakdowns during the season, and I don't like current players or probably have to be a little more careful about like doing film breakdowns on podcasts. But
Dion,
like,
what were you guys
players,
looking at here on
Right.
Buffalo? What was your check here against Kansas City?
Last play of the year. Tell us everything.
So yeah, appreciate you guys and by the way, like we're seeing some of the big, like the off-season numbers just to self-suck here for the podcast. Where's my ding? There we go.
Oh, no, thank you.
These are the biggest off-season numbers we've seen, and this is now the third off-season that O-Line Committee has existed.
Go time.
Thank you guys. You can help the show continue to grow by clicking the subscribe button and the like button on the YouTube channel, and then on Apple and Spotify, a 5-star rating and a positive review can also help grow the show. Yes. Enough groveling and begging here. We're going to make this almost the entire episode about dumb football questions here. We've been promising the audience that we would plow through even more of these in the offseason. So I think we can just do a bunch of beefy DFQ episodes. I'm going to start with two of my own that I know the audience is going to want your take on here since we last podcasted. So my first question is, how do you guys feel about Darrell Housch Doucette's recent comments about the U.S. flag football roster? And I will preface with some background. So Doucette is the current quarterback on the U.S. flag football team, which maybe you're just finding out now that the United States had a flag football team. He's 5'7", 140 pounds. He's like 35 years old,
Specimen.
I think. Yep. And he was the guy that last year said he's a better flag football player than Patrick Mahomes would be. And the news came out last week that the NFL will allow, so flag football is going to become an official Olympic sport in 2028.
Which is, can we just say, has to be one of the dumbest things
I
I've
love
ever
it,
heard.
dude. Are you
But,
kidding me?
Yeah, no.
You're not here for it?
I mean, flag football in the Olympics, dude, you realize the Olympics started with like wild shit, and now we've gone to flag football.
Stop.
You
mute
stop.
him and continue.
Okay.
That's
Anyways,
a terrible take.
I want to know something.
I don't
Go
know
back.
what the fine is, but it's a new fine.
That's
Whatever. Find me all you want. I don't care. Listen,
know.
go back.
Yeah,
what were this kid?
sensitive.
Wait, go back. What were this guy's stats again? How tall was he, and how much did he weigh? Did you say he's smaller than my 7th grade son? What did you say?
Well, yes, 5'7", 140. Yeah,
That's smaller than my 7th grader. You're not kidding me. This is the starting quarterback for the American.
Let
team?
him cook.
Go ahead.
So let me set this up, and then you guys can you just take it wherever
Sure
you want to. But the U.S. is going to allow, and the NFL players to play on this flag football team, apparently,
Hell yeah.
Which is
in 2028.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, there's some NFL
It's
owners
not
and
gonna
front
last long, but
offices.
sure.
And so somebody on a podcast, and I'm so sorry, I just saw the clip on social. I should give credit to the podcast, and I feel bad. I just saw it in passing. But
You're fine.
that the current quarterback here, Doucette, Housch Doucette, he said, quote, "I think it's disrespectful that they just automatically assume that they're able to just join the Olympic team because they're NFL players and the people that they are. They didn't help grow this game to get to the Olympics. Give the guys who helped this game get to where it's at the respect they deserve. The flag football guys deserve this opportunity. That's all we want. We felt like we worked hard to get the sport to where it's at. And then when the NFL guys spoke about it, it was like we're getting kicked to the side.
Listen, you'll have a chance to make the team just like anybody else. I don't know what to tell you, but
I'm so confused. Does this dude really think people want to watch him?
When Lamar Jackson shows up,
yeah,
it says,
"Good luck.
Thanks for all you've done. Hand Daddy the ball." Right? Like Papa's here. You can go stand over there. I get there's a lot of rules, there's a lot of craziness, but we're talking about the most elite athletes in the world. I'm like, you think the dude from Turkey's gonna cover Tyreek Hill? Like, what are we talking about? Like,
Justin Jefferson going deep.
Justin Jefferson going deep, and Lamar
Japan's got him. Don't worry,
dude. The best. Miles Garrett, T.J. Watt can't tackle Lamar Jackson, and now you think some flag football guy is gonna just like
Xavier Worthy? What are you? What?
Like, I don't.
We're
understand.
all dying laughing. That's my response.
My whole thing is like, I get what you're saying, but these are the best athletes in the world. And I'm sorry, they're going to come in and be like, hey, we appreciate what you've done, but I'm better than you. So have a seat and let's see how this goes.
Listen, let's talk about the real thing. Nobody paid to watch that. They thought that it was going to be Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson playing the quarterback of the USA team, and Tyreek Hill and Xavier Worthy and Justin Jefferson were the receivers. Like, did you really think that everybody was like, yeah, we want to go watch everybody else play? Or were they like, no, if we can do this, I guarantee you the NFL will let us borrow some of their players. That's exactly what this is. It's the NFL versus the world. And that's what everyone's excited to watch. Am I livid it's a flag football game? A little bit. Eventually it'll turn itself over into a real football game, which will be even... Oh, it will. Just wait. Just wait.
Dude.
We've said this for years.
But the NFL's players won't be allowed.
Who would have thought they'd let them play flag? Flag is even way more dangerous. Let me guess. You're not wearing pads as you're playing football. What do you think is the most dangerous game in the world? Flag football. I know because I've seen kids run into each other and you're like, oh, shit.
I'm going to say like the Australian rules football and rugby where they play actual tackle and don't wear pads.
Well, now it's about to get crazy, dude, because that's going to be
But like
thing.
the rules in flag football, like the center can go out for a pass.
Oh,
right. So like you start
looking out late.
You start looking at like, okay, well, who plays center for the UF? Like, I don't know, maybe a guy like
all of a sudden it's Gronkowski,
or who's the stud? Brock Bowers, right? Brock Bowers is now playing center, and then it's like, yeah, cover him. Good luck. Have fun with that. But then I saw guys like Kyle Hamilton who said that he has Korean descent. Like, you don't think the Korean team would be like, yeah,
we'll pay you so much money to play for us. Yeah, you're gonna make a ton of money. It's gonna be so fun to watch though. At the same time,
I like that the owners didn't. I mean, I'm sure they threw a bit of a fit.
Were you surprised, by the way?
I was actually surprised they even said this would happen because some of the stipulations that came with it were like, hey, if a guy gets hurt, he still gets a credited season. Like, there was still a lot of stuff because for those we've talked about it on the show, I'm sure, but if you get hurt outside of the football facility, you go on this thing, which is a purgatory list called NFI, non-football injury, which means the team still owns your rights and they got to pay you a total of $0, right? And you can't go nowhere. You just sit there and float and rehab, and it's the worst possible place you can be as a professional football player is on the NFI list. And so I was like, there's no way they're going to let your $40 million a year receiver, Jamar Chase, go play flag football and blow a knee, blow an ankle, rip a hammy, and then be like, oh, yeah, it was for the Olympics. It's fine. We didn't need that $40 million in cap room to go try and win a Super Bowl this year. Like, that's the stuff I thought the owners were going to completely nix, but they gave in. And they did give him some protection. I'll be very curious what that contract outside, because there will be a waiver of what's covered, what's not. Very curious of what that's going to look like. But I'm super excited to watch the best in the world go out there and play a flag football game. I can't wait.
I have a question next about like what the roster would look like in a second. But just back to Housch Doucette for a second. This dude is wild. He thinks
He really
thinks
does.
flag football is an Olympic sport because of the groundwork that the flag football players laid. Not the groundwork that, I don't know, the NFL laid for like
Right.
the last 100 years. Like who has a bigger impact on flag football becoming an Olympic sport? Housch, Doucette, or Randy Moss from 1998 through 2005?
Yeah. Over years,
Peyton
people
Manning,
finally done
Tom
it.
Brady, Patrick Mahomes, like they want to see
We want to play 'em.
those dudes. And
Yeah.
this would be like Justin Jefferson was quoted on this because he was like on a committee that helped get the players to be able to do this. He said, I've wanted to do this since I was a kid. I watched the dream teams. When USA basketball was 50 levels beyond like the rest, now like the last 5 MVPs have all been like European or Canadian, so the world's kind of catching up. But this would be take what the dream team was to basketball in the Olympics when NBA players were allowed to jump in for the first time in like 1992, and they're beating teams by 80, and the opposing teams are like asking for autographs between quarters of Michael Jordan and those guys. That's
exactly
what
what
this
this is
would
gonna
be
be.
times
Yeah.
100, dude.
Yes.
I know. It's going to be insane. It's literally America versus everybody, and it's going to be so fun to watch. It's going to be the greatest event for sure. I don't know that it's the listen. It's really scary.
I got a
Doesn't
question
it
for you,
scare
Boone.
a little bit?
Would you rather, and I think you and I might be different on this, would you rather be a Super Bowl champion or Olympic gold medalist?
Oh man, that's really hard because I watched Michael Phelps crush those
I know.
swimming, and you're like, dude, that guy could say he's the greatest.
I'm gonna say I would have
But
rather been an Olympic gold medalist.
But in flag, in flag football,
In anything, anything, dude, in anything.
You'd rather not win the Super Bowl.
I would have rather been able to hang my hat on that I was an Olympic gold medalist.
Fencing or Super Bowl gold medal.
Dude, gold medal. You went against the world, and you came
synchronized
out.
swimming,
You came
men's
out
version.
on top.
Technically, the Super Bowl is going against the world because nobody else could really compete
I
with the
know,
Super Bowl. So it's
but,
like
like,
this is
I
the
don't-
best,
dude,
right? Like,
I've
I
always
I just had a fleeting thought of Jeremiah in a Speedo on a high
right.
platform
the high
diving board.
platform, the tiniest splash you ever saw. As
listen,
I just
I think
into the
hey,
water.
I agree with you. I think it'd be amazing to be an Olympian, but a Super Bowl, like that's, I don't know.
I know it's toughy. It's an interesting question.
wow.
It's an
I really
interesting
can't
thought.
believe the owners are letting the players do this,
It's
and it blows
fascinating.
my mind because this is something that you would never think they would let them do. Like, this is such a big range to let
But they,
them get
dude,
hurt.
they couldn't because they'd look like such assholes.
Oh yeah,
Right? Like the owner be like, you mean you don't want America to win? Like you don't want the billionaires of the American, the world, like you don't want us to
Do you think
go
they
and
were
let
in
these
on
guys.
it? Do you think the owners were in on it? Because you think the Olympics came to them like, hey, listen, we want to make this a sport, but we're only going to do it if you let your guys in. Because like you're right, it would then be a toss up as to who's going to win. But now it's like, okay, who can battle? This is almost like American Gladiators. Like, let's go out there and just do this, right? But do you think that they went to the owners and were like, hey, if you say no, good chance we don't do this?
I don't know. Maybe.
There's no way they make this an Olympic sport without the
Without
NFL's
NFL
backing.
players.
There's no way.
There's no
Yeah.
way.
And
that's
also,
what I'm saying.
I
They
wonder
probably went to him.
with some of the other sports, and I think the Olympics might be a little more tight with how far they'll let you kind of go outside of your actual, like if you live in America but you're a citizen in another country, you can get away. But
Well, that's what's happening in basketball. Is all these
basketball
dual
and the
American
World Baseball-
citizens like.
well, the World Baseball Classic is even like looser, where if like Drew Butera was a backup catcher for years, and like his great grandpa was Italian or something, and so he plays for Team Italy.
yes.
I think there's going to be, if they loosen it up, then you could have players where, okay, I'm 30% Irish, so I'm going to play for Team Ireland or
Yeah.
something. I
Well,
don't know.
first they're going to want America to win the first couple. So they're going to be like, listen, you're all playing for us. You
Yeah.
got it? And then you can branch out into your own fucking countries. We win gold first.
Second dumb football question for you then. I'll give you the parameters, the rules that I found here just through random Google search. What is your ideal U.S. 10-man flag football roster?
10-man?
If it was happening, let's say right now, we don't know what it's going to look like in 4 years. So right now, or 3 years. So here are the rules. It's 5-on-5 on-field play, but you get a 10-man roster. It's a 70-yard field. I think it's 30 yards wide. You start at your own 5-yard line. The games are 40 minutes long, 2 20-minute halves, a 2-minute warning. Each team gets 4 downs to reach midfield, starting at your own 5-yard line, and then 4 downs to score a touchdown once you cross midfield. No running plays allowed within 5 yards of the end zone, but you can hand the ball off. in the middle of the field.
So you only get 10 guys, and they have to play offense
So is
and
it
defense.
5 offense, 5 defense?
I would say I think five offense, 5 defense.
Well, can Travis Hunter count as one of the guys because he can play both ways?
Right?
Then I'm jumping into this fight, and I go, he's my number one. Your first pick, number one, because you took 2 spots. Okay.
Yep.
Number 2, Lamar Jackson. I'm not an idiot. All right. He's gonna just
to be him,
destroy people, right? Like destroy.
Because if you watch football, the quarterback runs around like crazy.
Oh yeah.
Right. And no one can tackle this guy ever. And he's just
it's either him or Josh Allen because they also have to have a
big.
big arm. Like you want to be able to have a dude that can just yoke one, right?
Dude,
So it's
not
either
really
him or
though,
Josh.
because it's only 70-yard field.
But you
All
could
those-
throw a touchdown from
Dude,
your
you
own
could
5
throw a
yard
touchdown
line.
from your any of those dudes. Lamar.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. You
I
would need
think
someone.
I think quarterback wise, I'm going Lamar or Jaden Daniels. Those are my 2 picks at quarterback.
Kyler should be in the mix too.
Kyler could be in the mix for that one too, just because he is shifty, right? So those 3.
Sure.
Then for receivers, I'm going Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, and Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, you got to have a running back.
See, I was going to take Saquon, and I would have taken.
Saquon
I would have taken Jamar, and I definitely would have probably taken
But I feel like
Brock Bowers.
But Christian can run better routes than Saquon.
Yeah, but dude, have you seen Saquon jump the fuck over people?
You don't
that's
jump over
pretty
people
fucking cool. I hate to tell. Oh, who says you can't? He did it in the NFL. Here we go.
Just hurdle some dude.
See? All right, so we each have our 5 on offense.
I
okay?
feel like you. But
Who
I
else?
feel like
Who am I missing? Am I missing
a
anyone?
tight end. Brock Bowers.
I
is
said
a great
Brock
call,
Bowers
dude.
in mine. Yeah, you went with
Okay, so out of those receivers,
Tyreek Hill.
who do you take out then? Who do you take out of those receivers?
I would go Jefferson. Oh man.
No, here's what you do. Because you're going to go Travis Hunter, right? He's going to count as 1 because he's playing 2 spots, and then you're going to say Jamar Chase. You're also going to say
Jefferson.
Brock Bowers, and I would say Tyreek Hill.
Over Jefferson?
Well, dude, Jalen Waddle's already pissed at me. I mean, there's a million people that you could put in this spot. That's just like, who am I fitting in here right now? That's my dream team right there. Those guys can light you up. They can play slot. They can take you deep. Like, there's so many things that they can do, and they can still.
What about Housch
run the ball.
Doucette? There's no room for Housch Doucette.
No,
here.
he can come and watch. He can be a backup. He
So
can be an
defensively,
alternate.
what do you do? Do you take 1 D lineman, 1 linebacker,
Can you
and
rush?
all safeties? Yeah, can you rush
Can you
them?
rush?
Yeah, I got to
You have
find
to
the
count
rushing.
like
the
5
passer
Mississippi,
rule.
1 Mississippi,
1,
2 Mississippi,
2.
Okay, it says
you have the line judge
Still
in
an
the back
Olympic
that's
sport.
just counting it
3
down.
Mississippi.
Here's some of the rules. It says rushing the quarterback. A maximum of 2 defenders can rush the quarterback, but they must line up at least 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage before the snap. So
They have to get a running 7-yard head start before they. Olympic sport. This is you guys.
and that would mean that whoever they're defending. Now, so you'd have,
It's wide
you have
ass
5
open.
defenders to 4 route runners, so the defense has at least.
So you can always get 1
that
guy to
advantage.
rush at least. So if you want to, you can send 2. Yeah, I'm sending. I'm either
Micah.
picking up
Parsons.
or Miles Garrett. Right? You said the field is 30 yards. He could probably touch both sidelines at the same time.
But would you?
Yeah.
But you wouldn't need the bit like Parsons is 235
he can play
or
both.
whatever.
Yeah, because he could play
You
both. if
need
he
guys
didn't
that can
rush.
drop into coverage more than you would need like the big hulking pass rushers because
Yes.
you're not trying to get around a 310-pound, 330-pound left tackle.
Yeah, I'm
So
thinking
would you go more like
you want the
quarterbacks
hybrid.
and
You want more
Or-
hybrid guys.
Oh, I like the Micah Parsons. That's fair.
would you just have 5 cornerbacks
Well, you wouldn't want to do that, would you? I mean,
They could get there in a
and
hurry.
or like a Kyle Hamilton and 4 cornerbacks?
yeah,
Or like
They'd
a
be the
linebacker.
fastest. They can cover.
yeah. You probably want more of like a strong
you know, Fred
safety.
Warner. That's what you'd want to have, like Fred Warner and 4 DBs.
But,
That's exactly.
but Fred Warner will get torched by whoever the receiver is on the. Well,
But technically
he
he
wouldn't
doesn't-
because it's Denmark. But like, you know what I'm saying.
Oh,
New
is he
Zealand's
the
probably-
football? Do you show the football as soon as the end zone? We all go get pints afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Travis Hunter. Thank you. Oh gosh, I don't know. Defensive. That's a great question. I mean, you probably got
Patrick
to go.
Surtain.
Patrick Surtain's up there. Trent McDuffie,
Sauce
maybe.
Gardner.
Duffy for sure. Sauce.
Harrison Smith just sniffing him out at the line of scrimmage, just a wily veteran. He's probably too slow.
No, yeah, I think you need
He
more
might
speed.
be. He might be a little slow. But I mean,
I don't know, dude. It's so fun to think about take the best 5 athletes in your pool's the NFL.
Honestly,
right?
there's going to be a lot of pissed off people because they're going to be
100%.
like, "What do you mean I'm not in one of the 5 best fucking athletes?" Like they're going to be dudes like you said, it's either Christian or Saquon, right? Like, one of them's going to be like, "All right, who's in, who's out? Oh shit!" Like the reserve roles are going to be so interesting to see who takes those on. Oh man, I'm excited.
Should be fun.
I'd love to know. Drop your comments on YouTube.
Give me your team. Give me your dream team.
Give us your
America
10-man
versus
rosters.
the world. Let's go.
Because it's
Yeah, we can put these
2028,
in.
right?
Yeah, 2028.
Well, because here's what's crazy. There's going to be people that we don't even know about
yeah.
that are like
Arch
sophomores.
Manning.
Sophomores.
Yeah, like
in
Arch
college.
Manning's going to be there. Like there's going to be a whole nother pool of people. Like Saquon at this point is going to be like 34.
Hey, whoa. Easy. Oh, it'd be Ashton Genty. That's who it's going to be. It's going to be fucking insane. I'm so excited.
Jameer Gibbs.
Let's go.
Good luck.
Go.
God.
Yeah, sorry. Good
Jamison
luck,
Williams.
Trinidad and
Oh
Tobago.
my God, dude. We've just. Oh, there's so many guys.
Yeah, Jameer
Hey,
Gibbs is one up there.
how do
I'd
we
probably
become?
put him in
I
there.
want to know who the committee is that gets to elect these guys because I want to be a part of that. I want to. Seriously, that would be fucking awesome.
It's going to be great. The U.S. versus Uzbekistan or whatever the hell these countries are.
Let's
Listen,
go.
if you're a current flag football player and you're a little down about this news here, okay, let's talk about mental health for a second on the O-line committee. All right, as guys, we tend to shove our emotions down. We tend to bury everything, and it comes out sideways, maybe when you least expect it. My family has dealt with depression throughout my life. I've talked about it on our podcast, but you have two choices. You can shove it all down and suffer like Jeremiah and Alex have done their entire lives, or you can talk to somebody who can help you manage all the things going on in your life. And that's where Rula comes in. R-U-L-A, Rula. So you can talk to a professional who knows what they're doing. Here's what you need to know about Rula. In network for most major insurance providers, $15 per session, typical copays. And you can connect with a therapist in as little as 24 hours. Join the thousands of people who have already turned to Rula to improve their mental health. Go to rula.com/O-line. When you sign up, they'll ask about how you heard about Rula. That's where you can help support the O-line committee, and that's where Rula can support you. All right, rula.com/O-line, and connect with someone who can help you manage the stressors going on in your life. Ding me
Get 'em.
right
Get 'em.
now.
All right. Sensitive.
All right, boys.
That's right.
The
Doucette could use
DFQs
that.
The DFQs continue here.
Let's go.
Nate Hack 4999 wants. It's not a question. He's demanding a reaction to the NFL finally putting together an official offensive line award. Did you
Hey.
guys see that last week?
Yeah.
It's about fucking
They
time.
stole that from us. By the way.
Shout
Protector of
out
the
to
year?
Deion
Love
Dawkins.
it. Yeah.
Deion Dawkins was the one that really started this on his social media. Love Deion. He came on, was talking to him about what he wanted to do. And, he was like, man, this is just something we feel like we need. And then Andrew Whitworth, right, in his position with Thursday Night Football and being respected, he really drove it. And to see the NFL finally decide, hey, Protector of the Year needs to go out there, I think is long overdue.
Oh, well over. I'm so excited. It's about time we get some recognition. And I'm excited to see who they have pick that award every year. It's going to be, there's so many people that could sit down in a committee. It'll be so
If only there was a committee involving offensive
I
linemen that could
know.
help figure out who wins that award.
It'll be really interesting what they use for parameters of it too. Like
Yeah.
what's the driving, you talk about like rookie of the year, receiver of the year. It's always like catches, touchdowns, yards. It's, what is it going to be the number of sacks allowed, pressures allowed? How do you take run blocking or on islands or whatever it is? Like, it'd be really interesting to see what the parameters when they pick the first winner sets kind of like the benchmark of like, okay, that's what they're looking at. Right? Like, what are they looking at for this? Is it a film-based thing? Is it a stats-based thing? Like, I'm gonna be really curious in like who votes on it. Like, that's the other thing. I think it needs to be voted on by NFL linemen in the NFL. Right? Though that's who needs to vote this award.
I agree with
Yeah,
that.
isn't it always going to be a left tackle or maybe a right tackle?
Well, that's the thing. Is
Panay-
like we would
Panay
hope that
Sewell.
eventually it'll be start being a center, or it could be a right guard that shows up and dominant, or a right tackle that comes out. I mean, all the positions.
Zach Martin would have won it at one point in his career. Right?
Travis Frederick would have
you
won
think
it at
Travis
one point in
Frederick
his-
would have
yep,
won won it
for
at one
sure.
point in his career, right? You would
Mangold
think that,
probably would have won it in his career.
yeah,
as a
Jeff
center.
Saturday would have been
Alan
up for it. So
Faneca was a
I do-
guard.
That's what I mean. Like, it can't just be a turn into a tackle award, just like the MVPs just turned into a quarterback award.
No, it shouldn't. And-
Right? It can't just turn. It needs to turn into like, hey, who had the most dominant year this year?
Right.
A couple years ago, it's probably Joe Tooney. right? And you start looking around this year, I think it probably would have been Penei Sewell, right? You kind of have to really look at it from not just a stats perspective, but from a dominance perspective, like week in and week out, who was healthy. Right? I think that's who played every single snap this year. Like I feel like that's got to be a prereq. Like, because part of our position is being a battler, like being a warrior. Like, who played every single snap? Start there, and then from there, then it goes on. Okay, hey, who didn't just survive against the Myles Garretts and the TJ Watts? Like, who beat the piss out of those guys? Right? Like, okay, and then we go from there. I think there's a lot of layers that's going to have to go into this.
Super exciting though, because goddamn, dude, like you have to think at some point they're going to need more than just the guys in the NFL to vote on it. They're going to have to ask a couple people outside to talk about it. That would be fucking awesome.
It's also going to be hilarious to watch fat guy in a little suit at the NFL postseason awards ceremony.
That'd be fucking awesome.
By the way, the guy, I just pulled up some of the stats from last year here. The guy who statistically, at least this sounds like a pass protection award more than anything, right? They're calling it the protector of the year.
Yeah.
But Tristan Wirfs from Tampa Bay, the starting left tackle, he allowed 13 total pressures last year and no sacks of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
According to at least PFF's tracking. So
there you go. Dude.
Penei Sewell, 1 sack allowed on the right side. Lane Johnson, only 1 sack allowed as a right tackle. So I think like those guys would probably be in the finalists.
Yeah. Well, you would
Jordan
say
Mailata had
Tristan
2 sacks
technically, because and we'd have to go back and look. I'm sure Tristan didn't miss any time. He's fucking one of the
17
toughest
games.
Dudes. Yeah, dude, he's one of the toughest dudes.
Yeah. So congratulations to offensive linemen around the world. Boy, the advancements being made in football, flag football expanding as an Olympic sport, and offensive
linemen getting recognition. Fucking time.
17 games overseas soon, according to Goodell.
Oh boy.
What are we at now? 8?
8.
Yeah.
So they're literally trying to map out what would this is a systematic takeover.
100%.
The advancement this year is let's have a team play back-to-back games in different countries and see what that looks like logistically. And then the next step at some point is going to be, what if there was an international game every single week? Let's get people used to that type of a football watching schedule. And
then that's how the 2028 Olympics becomes a giant football, because now it's worldwide, right? Yep. It's all part of the master plan. Capital, as Boone and I say it, capital B billionaires are not dumb.
The big boys, the big boy bees, they used to say.
Big boy bees.
Okay, Paula Chandler says, do you think, I love this question, do you think that the best sumo wrestlers in the world could play offensive line if they started football at like 20 years old? They're already trained for leverage, footwork, and non-holding techniques on how to push your opponent, as well as weight, strength, and diet. Was it Micah Parsons?
Yeah.
Someone recently
CJ Stroud, Micah Parsons
went up against sumo wrestlers and got owned.
Yeah. I don't know the answer to this. I will say it's 2 way different things. Like, we wear a lot of padding, and I think there's a lot more violence in the middle there that people forget about. Do I think they'd be good? Yeah, I think they'd be good, but I'd be interesting to see some speed rush against them, what they end up doing.
It's for me, it's more the cardio effect.
Well, that's my whole point. Speed rush. Like, you're going to see one speed rush and be like, oh shit.
Well, even it's
this is the Japanese flag football team. Max protection. Yeah. It's 3 sumo wrestlers, a quarterback, and 1 route runner. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, because like they do, and I remember Nick Hardwick actually used to pull up film when I was a rookie, and he'd have us watch sumo wrestling and just be like, look how these guys use their leverage. Look how they always have a base. Look how they're never out over their skis. They're always sitting back into their hips. Like, there is a lot of correlation of the techniques that go into it. It's the movement skills that are required from an offensive lineman to go laterally that I think would throw a little bit of a rope in that. And also, those guys they're not meant to, like, the way they eat and build and grow, like, their whole goal is to be like, I'm going to be 400 pounds and go that way my entire life.
Right.
Great. How's your hip mobility? It's probably not great, right? How's the side?
Can you run off the ball?
Yeah. 40 times in a row with a 40-second clock? I don't know.
Got to get back to the huddle.
You could probably train a couple guys to get proficient in it, but a lot of those guys have short arms too, so I think that would also be a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
They'd get dinged in the combine measurement process
for
sure.
Dude, sumo wrestler 40s, come on. I need that in my life.
I need to see that.
I need that in my life. Like, all right, boys, get in your stance. Like, they could do the, like, They like
Two
get
hands.
down on their knuckles. They're like down on their knuckles before they run. You're like, no, forward lean, split the feet.
I want to see their 10 split for sure.
No. God. Is there like a sumo wrestling combine that we're unaware
No,
of?
but I would love
I
to
need
see
one. I need one.
I do too.
I need one created. Vertical jumps are 8.
Well, all right, so we've now
8-inch
envisioned
verse.
Jeremiah in a Speedo and a sumo, whatever you call those things.
The diaper, I don't know. They look like
Oh,
diapers.
what do you call those?
I'm sure someone will let us know.
Let's see here. Shane Malecha, 4042. This is kind of a deep question for you guys. How did you handle the pressure and expectations that come along with being a professional athlete?
Swallowed them and just never thought about it.
That's rula.com.
I mean, I think a lot of it is your personal community. Like, I think that's a big piece of who you surround yourself with, because it's really easy to let the outside world truth of what people think about you as a professional athlete sneak into your worldview of what you think you are as a person, right? And so having surrounded yourself with good mentors and good family support staff and good friends that are outside of football too, and being able to dissociate from that like a few times a year is really important, because the guys that I saw that couldn't dissociate and were searching their names on Twitter every day and were worried about the articles that were being written about them, and what people outside of the building thought about them became what they thought about themselves. Like, that really crumbled a lot of guys, versus guys that went home like, dude, I don't read that. I'm with my wife. I'm with my kids. I'm with my pastor or my friend or whoever it is. Like, those guys are able to handle that pressure a lot more, because it's not every waking moment, right? It's the guys that can't dissociate and pull themselves out of, my identity is not the NFL player. My identity is in a billion different things, or it's in one specific thing that's not football. If those are the guys that handle the pressure well, the guys that don't have that support system or have those people around them are usually the ones that have to struggle to find that. And they're lucky if they ever really do, and it can derail a career really quickly.
Yeah. Is there
Well
even
said.
like time for that? So I feel like sometimes you guys are just on this conveyor belt schedule. Everything is so regimented, especially during the season. Is there even time to think existentially about, I am a professional athlete
No.
and there's pressure on
It's
me?
just your life, right?
Yeah.
Like you become accustomed to, this is what I signed up for, right? No one has a gun to my head saying I have to do this. Like, there's not, like, I'm not coming home and they're like, play football or die, right? Like, there's none of that, right? But you do put that as like, hey, I'm in a position that everyone would love to be in. Let's make sure I don't squander this.
Right.
Well, let's make sure I'm not a moron. Like, I'm not going to go drink and drive. I'm not going to go do really dumb things. Like, I'm going to take advantage of this gift that has been given to me, because God built me as a 6'6", 300-pound man. Like, I can take advantage of this, when other guys that grew up, I played tackle football with in 4th grade, that plateaued at 5'9" and never had the opportunity. Like, you want to take advantage of that. And it doesn't become a pressure. It just becomes a privilege.
That is one of the crazy things that you just touched on, where like most people who are 20 to 25 years old are idiots, because like whether you're a football player or not,
Yep.
you haven't learned enough, lived enough, and then you look back when you're 35 or 45 or 60, you're like, man, if I only knew then what I. But your physical peak is 20 through 25 or 20 through 27, and it's like, how do you marry your physical peak with some semblance of perspective and work ethic and football IQ and all those things?
Shameless plug here. It's part of what Booney and I are doing, right? It's part of why we're in the profession that we're in. It's why I went into being an agent. It's why I brought Boone into this world to be a trainer of these guys, because we were idiots, right? And we did do some dumb things that maybe it cost us a year or two on the back end of our career, or we didn't enter the NFL in the right point that we wanted to be, or there was pitfalls in the year that maybe went from us being a starter to a backup, or just a bunch of different things that happened to us in our career. And because I am now going to be 34 and Booney's going to be 40, I think, and we're gonna look back 38. Sorry, like, we've now talked enough about this, going, okay, how do we help the next generation along so they have better careers than we did, and we have better opportunities than we did? And it's really why everything you just laid out, Phil, is why Booney and I do what we do for a living now in this world of mentorship and bringing young O-linemen along.
Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, this is from Ken via the YouTube comment section. He says, the guys have kind of touched on this concept, but I'd love a deeper dive here, an expanded view. And he's a Vikings fan. He uses the Vikings as an example, but this can go beyond the Vikings. How a veteran center, like say a Ryan Kelly, builds a relationship with a young quarterback like a J.J. McCarthy. So I'll frame it to you guys as talk about the quarterback center relationship, especially when it's veteran center trying to help a guy that's never stepped foot on an NFL regular season playing field before.
Boone, you were with Kyler when he was young, weren't you? How did that work with AQ? No, Carson was still there, wasn't
Carson was there. I'm trying to think. Honestly, Cap.
You had
Cap
Cap.
was young.
That Cap
was
with
young.
was Alex
Goody.
still there? Was Max still there?
No, it was Goody. Goody was really old. Goody was like year 12. Goody, don't get mad at me. He's actually the quarterback's coach now at the Chargers. He's probably gonna be so pissed when he finds out. But it was, it was honestly a lot of trial and tribulation, and it was a lot of like, hey, how do you like things done? This is how we like things done. There was a lot of crossover meetings early on, like, hey, we like to go here, and for the most part, like, when you have a young quarterback, the quarterback doesn't really have a say in anything. It's more the OC and the head coach. Like for us, it was Harbaugh and Giro. So Harbaugh was like, I want to get to this. This is how we get to this. And then after time, you would develop a relationship where you don't have to kill it and look at him to be like, what do we need to do? Like you eventually be like, hey, I know he wants to go out here because he's said this multiple times. If we can get out here, it helps me free this up or whatever it is. But doing all that takes a lot off the quarterback's plate, right? The more you can know him, the faster you can understand how he wants this process done, the less communication there is between us, and the more you can talk to the receivers on the outside, which is the number one problem in football, is receivers running the wrong routes or having the wrong misconception or assuming that something was different. The quarterback's not relaying enough because he's talking to the O-line. So taking that off his plate is huge. How long will it take Ryan to figure it out? Probably a month or two. I mean, you go in there and if you listen to KOC, and I'm sure it's a lot like when Harbaugh would talk, he's going to tell you like, hey, 64 protection, we want to go out here. If for some reason they get rotation the other way, we're going to kill it like this, and we have to do it like this, and this is what we're accustomed to. So then Ryan's like, all right, cool, done. If there's any issues after that, JJ comes to him and says, hey, listen, if we kill it, let's get to this. Then it's like, all right, you're really fucking young, though. I'm not really sure I can believe what you're doing, so I'm going to go double check with the head man. Like, that's why it's kind of like a bridge between a lot of people, and then eventually over 6, 8, 10 games, you develop this relationship of, I don't even have to look back anymore. I know he's going to want to kill this. So-and-so wants this done like this. Like, it just takes time to marry that relationship, and it's not really easy. It's a lot of kind of messing things up and maybe in practice getting him touched or people around him, and eventually it's like you build this, okay, I understand what he wants to do, where he wants to go, because a lot of it is with the new guys, and honestly with Cap it was different than Alex because Cap was so fucking dynamic outside the pocket, where I'm not saying that Alex wasn't, but at times Alex would just be more of a stand back here and throw the ball, which was fine. Like that's what we were built on. So that's the one thing is like, what does JJ like to do? Where's he going to go? Does he like to escape out of the pocket? Does he want to sit in the pocket? All these things. And this is what they're finding out right now during OTAs, which is honestly why I feel like the development of teams has gone down and suffered, because this is where you find out the most about your team. This is where you find out all the X's and the O's, and we want it drawn up like this, and we want to kill it to this and do all this. And then when it comes time for training camp, now it's like, okay, now put your fucking helmets on and go hit each other and do it, right? Like this is where you're marrying all this up, and you're going, hey, this is how he likes it. If he kills it, he wants to get to snake out here. He's going to go to sail over here. I got it. I get it. By the time the season comes, that's when you want to be jiving and rolling.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I'll keep with the Kelly example just because he just went through this with Anthony Richardson, right? Like he just had a young QB behind him, and I bet you there were some things that he was like, man, I wish I would have done XYZ more, or I wish I would have let Anthony learn a little bit more on his own from this way. And so, he has a nice idea of being able to kind of marry through it. I was on the flip side with it when I was in San Diego, and Nick Hardwick had to end up retiring like week 2 because of his injuries, and we had to start a 3rd-round rookie, right? And Phillip Rivers was the quarterback, and then we had a rookie center, right? And that was very much, hey, do as you're told and don't speak unless spoken to.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like that was that's a
different dynamic.
That's a totally different dynamic where the quarterback just literally is like, just listen to what I say and don't do anything else.
Snap it when I tell you.
Right.
Oh, you should see them, dude.
100%.
They're hilarious.
Like when there's young centers in there, like veteran quarterbacks are literally like, you don't get to make a call. You don't get to make a check. Like you just do as you're told. And if you try and deviate from the plan, I will put my foot
I will kill you.
so far up your ass. Like you will never play football again. You're like, got it. Sounds good. Right. But the other piece of it, like back to the flip side, like I remember I was in Buffalo when Josh was a rookie, and we had Russell Bodine, who was the center, who had played a lot in Cincinnati, right, and then come over, and it was very much Dable would kind of give to Juan and be like, hey, your guys' job is to get us lined up properly and get the initial call made first, right? Like, hey, if the base rules were going here, your job's to get us up, lined up, make the call, and then let Josh fix you if he wants to go to something else. Right, like we'll let him worry about like if the call's a call and we get up there like and it's everything's kosher. I don't want him thinking about like, hey, do the O linemen know where they're going? Right, like they know where they're going. The only time Josh has to change anything is if I'm in his ear and I'm going, hey, Josh, flip this. Right, the offensive coordinator can tell, hey, flip this real quick when the seconds are winding down. Right, so like that was a little bit more on that front of just like, hey, just get everyone lined up, make sure everyone's on the same page, and then let Josh fix you if you need anything fixed. But other than that, we'll just let you guys handle it and roll with it.
Yeah. And then you think about like when Peyton Manning and Jeff Saturday had played years together
Dude,
and
could
had
you
seen
imagine?
everything. And
Well,
they're
that's where
doing
it gets.
calculus.
That's where it gets. See, sometimes that's where it gets like going back to King Dunlap's story last week.
I was gonna say the
right
the
where like
Hardwick
they're
and the Phillip.
they both are so knowledgeable and they're both so entrenched and they know everything and they know what the other's thinking. Like then you kind of have two cooks in the kitchen. Right. Yeah. And like you have a little bit of like, no, dang it, Phil. I said we're going this way. Like, no, they loaded Delta said hut. Right. Like you have
Watch
that piece
this.
going there. And then, you know, I think back to the clip with Peyton Manning and Jeff Saturday, it was like, just play center. Right. Like when they were down on the goal line when they were
we
trying
gotta
to
run the
flip.
ball.
And he's like, I just play center, damn it. Like there is a little bit of that where it just goes like when you have too much brain power between those two guys, it's a good thing.
Hey.
But sometimes it can get a little crazy too.
I will say this: when the two go at it, when they do become very knowledgeable, it becomes an awkward silence for the other four that are like, "Who do we follow? Are we
Dude, it's
following
mom
this?"
and dad fighting at the
Dude,
dinner
it's
table, and you're just
terrible.
like, I'm just gonna eat my potatoes.
Or like when they're watching film and they'll be like, "Hey, do you see it like this?" And he's like, "No, I don't." And you're like, "Oh my god,
No.
I don't know what's going on." Dude, it's awful. And in the game when they're fighting, it can be really like because the center's looking at you like, can you believe this fucker? Can you believe? You're like, yeah.
Well, the best is in the
can't.
meetings. In the meetings when like they do that back and forth and like, I don't see it like this, I see it like this, and then they kind of go back and forth, and then there's this awkward silence, and then it just goes to the next play, and someone has to be one to speak up and be like, so what are we doing on that look, right? And they'll be like, well, it's like, oh gosh, like because you don't want to just bypass the look because they couldn't agree. Like someone has to be like, hold on, can we go? Can we go back one more play here? So like, what is the call here? And the center will be like, it's a load it, stupid. And then the quarterback's like, well, maybe. And they're like, oh my gosh, here we go again.
We cannot. Oh, it's the worst.
Cody Condon says, hey, Phil, does the O-line committee have a fan mail address? I would love to I would ship myself off to war to get something signed by the O-line committee. I've got hundreds of hours of Purple Daily under my belt, but there's just something about O-line committee that's so great. Yeah, Alex's home address is 4572 Main Street. If we do have like a mailbox at the Hubbard offices,
Send it there.
If I gave that out, would you guys abuse it? Is my the audience?
Absolutely.
We just
I'd abuse it
I'd
too.
abuse it.
here's
shit
okay,
sent there.
Cody. Email me pmackey at scorenorth.com, pmackey@scorenorth.com, and I'll get you an address. Now the problem
Sign up for
Jay
Rula.
lives
Sign
in
up for
Lincoln,
Rula,
Nebraska.
and we'll
Yeah.
get you something signed.
Exactly. That's rula.com/O-line committee. PW Sales has a dumb football question here. We got time for a couple more.
Oh yeah, we do.
How do the changes in hash marks affect the game in high school versus college versus pro?
This is great.
What positions benefit or suffer the most from the wider hash marks the further down the college and high school ladder you go?
I mean, honestly, dude, the tighter the hash marks get, the wider everything becomes, right? Like the wide zone all of a sudden becomes, you get so much more green grass. And you don't really think about it until my rookie year. I remember being on the field, and I remember just being like, God, this is so much tighter. Like they kept bringing the ball way in, and I kept trying to walk way out, like where the ball was like fall down. You'd like walk 5 yards back because it normally just gets spotted there, right? I will say it allows for so much more activity on the outsides, which is so much more fun. So like when you start getting tosses and you start talking about tunnel screens and you start talking about like the ability to use the outside, it is so much more fun. College was more, and I played so long ago, but like ours was more pro style. And so having the hash marks like super wide, you couldn't really do a lot of wide zone stuff. And I feel like that's why when you look at the scheme of football the way it is, they can utilize so much out there because the ball is put so close to the middle of the field, which is, I mean, it's incredible because you can almost line up your offensive line from hash to hash.
I hate the college hash marks.
So do I. It drives me nuts, by the way.
Because like Boone said, the college game has evolved to be so much different than the NFL game now, right? Because the college game now is like, well, if we're going to have the ball on the right hash, we have like 40 yards of field over here to the left. So we're going to spread these receivers out, and there's going to be one guy on the numbers and another guy like 2 feet from him. And then we're going to just kind of bubble screen them out there to death. It really puts the DBs and the outside linebackers in college at a horrible position, right? Because they have to kind of play this triangle from the end of the line of scrimmage, like the end of the line of scrimmage to the first receiver in the slot, and like which side do I lean to? And then that's really where the RPO game started, was in college football, because there's just so much more space to cover out towards the field. And then the boundary, like you run nothing into the boundary.
Nothing.
Right. And that's the thing, because there's no room over there. Right. And so it's this weird thing of like, well, we can run like tight zone into the boundary here, or we can run this RPO bubble screen, read everything into the field. And it just doesn't mirror well with the NFL game. Right. Because now it is all about stretching and speed. And like, I don't like the hash marks. I think the hash marks should be universal, use the NFL rules, because I don't really see why the problem is. Like, what is the benefit to having wider hash marks? That's a great point.
Why are they different?
Like, I really don't understand why that was a thought process to why have wider hash marks in high school and college than you do in the NFL, because I feel like it just allows more balance across the board when you have those tighter hash marks. And for the kickers, I remember our kickers used to be like with the wide hash marks.
Yeah.
Like if you got inside the 10 and you had to kick a field
deadly
goal, like it was like this terrible angle for the kickers to have to try and like bend it like Beckham into the thing instead of just being right there on the goalpost.
You know what we should do? Just maybe we should do this in like it's not the XFL. What's it called now? The minor league, the UFL.
It's the XFL. It's the XFL.
The XFL, whatever it is. So before 1933, there were no hash marks in football. The ball was spotted wherever it was declared dead. So
if you even if it was like a yard?
Dude, if you got tackled on the sideline, the ball was spotted like next to the sideline, and then you'd line up, like I guess the center would be on the far right, and then the rest of the players would be to the left. But they didn't, football existed in the late 1800s and early 1900s, college football especially. And 1933 was the first year. It's like early in the basketball days, there was a peach basket, and someone thought at some point to cut a hole in the bottom of the peach basket so that Alex didn't have to climb up a ladder to grab the ball out of the bottom of the peach basket. But that would be wild. No hash. By the way, kickers too. I know you guys hate kickers. College kickers dealing with those wide hash marks.
Oh yeah.
Even the close field goals, like there's, you're playing at Clemson or whatever, you're playing at, in the swamp and the game's on the line, and some nervous kicker walks out, far left hash mark with the game on the line,
shaking in his boots, like, fuck.
Hard
dude. I was trying to think. I heard a story one time, not to talk about kickers, but I heard that, and I got to tell this. Back in the day, I was told by somebody that went to Janikowski's kicking performance before he was drafted that he went 5 yards from the back of the goal line. So like where the actual uprights are, he was 5 yards, like halfway inside the end zone, and he kicked it from all the way from the other side, completely through the middle.
Wait,
no,
like what do you mean? Like 100 yards?
No, he was here, like that. Here's the goalpost. He was 5 yards from the goalpost and kicked it at an angle. And somebody was like, "There's no way you can do that." And he was
like a chip shot or something.
Chip shot right in. And they were like, "That's when everybody was like this." And you think about that, like. They probably benefited the most in the NFL from us moving everything in tighter. Like other than like you said, the DBs and the outside linebackers who have to just cover a fucking ton in the college game. Like they have 80 yards of green grass. They probably look over like shit.
Well, and like the formations get so spread and funky now. It's like they have a diamond formation on the sides, like a 4x1 to the boundary to the field, and you're like, this is dumb. Why are we doing this?
What is this?
Yeah, this is dumb.
Let's do one more from Cool Sushi 6624. Dumb football question. You guys have mentioned that pass protection is more energy sapping than the run game. That doesn't make sense to me because in the run game you have to move a massive human and run farther on the play. Could you explain the difference in pass pro versus run blocking in terms of energy being sapped?
I will say this. When it comes to pass pro, if you show any sense of weakness or if you even mess up a little bit in leaning, you're going to get cooked. In the run game, it's very forgiving, right? Like I'm running off the ball. I might miss him with my hand. I'm going to hit him with my shoulder. I'm going to catch him with my face mask, something. In the pass pro, their margin for error is 0. And so you're constantly in like a heightened sense of things. You're extremely active from the time you get into your stance until the time you're done pass blocking. So you're squeezing your core. You're like completely panicked about what's going on around you because you're like, this guy becomes a threat. This guy way over here becomes a threat. I'm looking at this guy in front of me. Whereas in the run game, normally the guys are like, hey, I'm with you, or are you with me? Who's with me, right? Like you're just trying to figure it's so much easier for us because there's a lot more combo blocks. Where in pass pro, you're dealing with extremely athletic dudes that move very quickly, and you have to go backwards while thinking. And if you show any weakness, they're going to crush you, whether it's slap your hands, spin on you, club rip you, hump you. Like there's so many more things you have to be aware of. Where in the run game, even if they blitz into a zone, it's like, no, this ended up working out really well. Like this ended up being way. Whereas when you blitz against pass pro, everybody's freaking out. What's going on? It's seriously tormenting.
Well, and also just like from the physiological piece of it of accepting force versus delivering force, right? Like so in a run game, like you are the one delivering the energy, right? Like, hey, I am running off the ball. I'm creating this contact. Like I'm going to be the one that delivers my energy to try and displace you. In the run game or in the pass game, when you set, you're setting and you're absorbing force, right? Like you're absorbing that 275-pound guy that is running full speed into you, and you have to stop him, right? Like you have to physically stop him and then continue to move your feet. So it's this combination of like a max body bench press squat, like max rep to stop the force and then restart the rep with athleticism. Right. And that takes a lot of effort, right? It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of making sure you're in the right place to like how to get to that place properly, be ready to fight. Like it just takes so much more of a full body control piece than run blocking is literally like, hey, I'm just going to run off this ball and hit you as hard as I can on this angle that I put myself on with good footwork. And then I'm just going to keep running until I stop.
Right. So stupid.
It sounds so dumb, but that, like run game is literally like, okay, this is the angle in which I need to attack on, and then I'm just going to run on it. Just run. Versus simple. Pass protection is so much more of like a full body, hands, feet, head, core. Like it's a max rep every single pass rush.
And then you're thinking the entire time, like, oh my God, I'm going to fuck this up. I'm going to fuck. Like, dude, you know how many times that thought has run through the back of my head of like, you're going to fuck this up. And then
every
you just
3rd and 8.
Literally, don't be the guy to fuck this up. Here we
like,
go.
White 10. This dude's got a hell of a sack dance. I really don't want to see it.
Boys, we have exactly 1 minute left in today's episode of the O-Line Committee. How could we fill that last minute here?
You know, I was wondering about Max Verstappen.
Yep. I love it.
Monaco.
It's time for the F1 Minute with noted F1 racing enthusiast Jeremiah Sirles. We'll put 60 seconds on the clock. We'll start the F1 beeps. Here we go.
It was the Monaco Grand Prix this weekend, which is also known as the most boring Grand Prix of all of them because nothing happened, right? So you had your qualifying rounds. You had Charles Leclerc was in the mix there. The Ferraris looked really strong. Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc. But Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri really decided to take away and put on the show with it and run with it. Lando Norris takes his first pole position since the first race of the season. And that pretty much is how it worked out. You know, they tried to make some things this week where it was like 2 mandatory pit stops to try and change it up. Essentially it just turned into Williams Racing and the Racing Bulls holding everyone back on the field and not really letting anything happen, trying to hope for red flags, green flags, yellow flags, anything. very boring. Lando Norris ends up taking the Monaco Grand Prix. He wins the whole thing. Max Verstappen led all the way up until 77 laps and then had to come back through. Is what it is. It's on and it's over with, and we're headed into the Spanish Grand Prix next week.
Wow.
Woo!
It's the post.
Dude, you came through at the end in record time.
Hey, that was a tough one to find a minute about, if I'm just being honest.
I don't know. Monaco feels the race doesn't live up to the glitz and the glam
100%.
and the riches of.
Yeah, the cars are too big.
Monaco.
The cars have gotten too big. You can't pass on the street circuit, but cars are getting smaller next year, so we'll see.
There he is, Jeremiah Sirles with the F1 Minute here on O-Line Committee. All right, boys. Keep those dumb football questions coming. I think we're going to do a few more of these, just like all-in DFQ episodes too. And we'll look to get a couple more fun guests on. We could do some film breakdowns with former players. I think that's a good door to walk through.
We should also probably get some flag football players on here. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Probably should. Yeah. Let's go through the entire current
We
roster.
should get ready.
Bring them
We
on.
should get ready.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go.
All right. He's the Rhino. He's Jeremiah. I'm Phil. And this is the O-Line Committee. See you guys.